My name is Prathiksha Srinivasan. I am an immigrant. I go by Prathi. I was born in India and then I moved around a lot in the States. I applied for the HBO Writers Fellowship right out of college, and then I got in. So essentially, I broke into Hollywood during that process. So I was 23 years old, and I was just so young and kind of very, very inexperienced. But I was very lucky because I found an agent pretty early on. And I started staffing on television shows. And most recently, I did Emily in Paris, season 4.
Very cool.
My episode just came out.
Nice.
And it got some pretty good reviews.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice.
My movie Plan B is on Hulu. It was a pandemic release, actually. So I got to have like billboards on Times Square and.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Or most importantly, I had a billboard of my movie outside of my regular donut shop.
Oh, that's nice.
Which was crazy.
You could give in your donuts and you're like, yeah, ever wondered who made that?
See, I would have if there was a single person out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's too bad. So you had the billboards up, but like nobody was
saw
there.
Nobody saw the
But
billboards.
you saw them.
I saw them.
You saw them,
Yeah.
and then you know that other people would have seen them.
They would have if they were outside.
If they were outside.
But everyone was being like law-abiding and stuff,
Yeah.
conformist.
So anyway, so film, television, writing, and then, coming originally from India through many different places.
Yeah.
I guess the first question is kind of like, do you feel like that background really helps you in writing all the different types of characters you need to make? Or
Definitely.
How
Sure.
so?
I'd say that I, as an Indian person, can write a white person with no problems. I do not think a white person can write an Indian person without any problems.
Yeah. Or
put
is
that in
it
simpler terms.
is it the race or is it the experience? Like, as you, an Indian that grew up in America around white people, you know enough white people to write that, whereas the white people may not know enough Indians?
Yeah.
Is it basically just the experience?
Well, that and sort of like living a dual existence where I can code switch without any real problems. Like, people will eventually forget that I'm not American. I mean, I am American, but I'm able to do that with some flexibility. Or even like Emily in Paris, you're writing French characters.
Yeah.
And nobody is like, oh, you have to be French to do it. You have to be able to code switch. You have to be observant enough to sort of pick up on not just like French words or French isms, but literally
The culture,
the
like
behavior.
how people do stuff.
Yeah.
I remember somebody said it once. It's like, if you have to think about it, it's not culture. So it's kind of like, but that makes it really hard for writers, because like, how do you write the things that people are not going to be able to think about, or that you may not have even thought about, to be able to put yourself in that position? It's definitely a writing challenge.
It's definitely empathy. Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
cheers. Here we go. Enjoy. It's really good.
My God. Son of a.
What do you think? I love that. That's got to be, we got to get more tea reactions like that.
That's some really good tea, man. It's
Isn't that really good?
So good.
Very, very clean.
You chose a really
Just
good
chose a
one.
good one.
Ah.
I always get excited when I have a guest on and they actually know what tea they want to drink, because
Really?
as a tea guy, like, part of my thing is like helping people who have very little experience in tea. That's totally good. I actually love doing that.
Okay.
But it's also fun to be able to take somebody who knows a little bit about what they want and say like, ooh, I actually have the confidence
I
to be able to say, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I don't know what you had before, but you never gone back after this.
There it is. Because
Yeah.
I did tell you, I did tell you kind of passive aggressively, actually, just like,
Yeah.
oh, you never see aged white tea anymore. And
Oh yeah. Oh, so that was clever. So you were like, it would really be hard to find a
crazy if we found aged and I mean, look, there's delivering, there's over delivering, and there's knocking my socks off. It's
Yeah.
so good.
There we go. So this is the 2008. I wish I had more of
that
these,
color.
but as I said, it's we got what we got, and then
Look
it's
at that
gone.
color. It's like amber. It's
Yeah.
golden. I think that's the color of a damn topaz. I'm
It's
swearing
good.
a lot.
This is good. I like it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, anytime we have guests come on, they like the tea so much they're swearing about it. I think I picked a good one. So yeah, so I think this for me as well, because I also did kind of a flip side version of this, in that I wrote on Chinese TV shows, and I would have to write for Chinese characters as well as for the only foreigner in the sketch, because I was trying to put myself into the sketch.
Sure.
This is the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
way. Like, the writers there, as you said, were never going to wind up writing a role for an American, because they don't know very many Americans.
Right.
So the very good.
Second drink is also quite nice.
So it was always a challenge to be able to write things that seemed real. Do you feel that there's like a pressure to do it right above the normal pressure of just writing a good script because it has to do with like race and culture, or is it just like any other problem of writing a script well?
I think there's like a different third answer that I'm going to give you.
Okay.
A secret third answer.
That's good.
Which is that I feel a lot of pressure to over deliver because I think that I don't see any other Indian people. I certainly do not see any women, do not see people who are younger, you know, in these positions that I feel like if I fuck up once, they'll be like, that's all
You're gonna have a
young
short
Indian
leash.
women. Well,
Yeah.
they'll say
yeah.
every other one is just like her. I feel that pressure quite a lot. So it has less to do with the race and the culture of the script and maybe more about how I have been socialized. Now that I'm thinking about it, right in this very moment.
Yeah. You're like, maybe it's me.
Maybe
well, there's something.
c'est moi.
No, but there's something to that. I mean, I remember like having a lot of that feeling in like when I was acting in China. Like I would look at these scripts sometimes, and I was like, okay, there's no wrong thing about having an American guy as a villain in any given movie.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, somebody showed me a script where it was like, okay, they're like, we really need a foreign actor for the script, Jesse. I'm like, oh, what does the foreign performer do? And they're like, yeah, so the foreign performer comes into a bar with like 5 women and roofies them all and takes them back. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna play this dude. And it's funny because it's like, that's reprehensible behavior. But the weird reason that first came to my mind is like, I don't want to be the example of reprehensible behavior for everyone that looks like me. It's like, when I should have been like, that's just straight up.
The average guys roofie people too.
Yeah.
Okay, not all white men.
Like, yeah, it's not just like everybody. It's like, you know, and I was like, why did you write this? Like, this doesn't have to be a white guy for this scene to be like, from a storytelling perspective, we're gonna hate that guy, regardless of who it was. I was like, I almost would rather be like a whatever, an American like cattle rancher, like yeehaw, like, you know, that sort of thing. I'm like, well, this is clearly farce. But then I was like, but it made me ask a lot of questions that made me think maybe I should be more of a writer and not an actor. Because if you're an actor, you're like, I got to get the gig. You know, you're not going to play yourself, so you care more about these things. I think the people who care about getting it right become the writers.
I think it's a bit of both. Writers also are happy to consign their souls for a paycheck, especially in this environment, in this economy, for sure. And you really do have to sort of be like a bit of a yes man when you first get in the door. It's definitely tough no matter what when you feel like you're representing an entire community and generation and society and species and everything. It's so much more pressure than just typing on a laptop.
Yeah, especially because the stories, like, you know, stories take on this huge power in society.
They're emblematic.
You know, they're emblematic, and it's like, it's one of the reasons why I'm curious to know whether 10,000 years ago, when humans were just a bunch of people sitting around a fire and telling stories, whether anybody was like, oh, there's this guy from this tribe over there, he's the best. Like, you know, he tells the best stories. Or even within a tribe, it must be.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
So like that sort of thing has always been with us, and yet I feel like the writer is in an interesting position because usually the person who's like on the show, like the lead actor, whatever, like people think about the actors, but more and more I think people are realizing that the actors are, I wouldn't say replaceable, but like, the writing is the thing that really makes the show different from every other show.
Yeah.
And then you want to find good actors that elevate the writing. But like, if you have a script and it's written like that, the actors don't change that much.
Yeah.
So the ability to kind of change the river closer to the source to make a really different work, it's actually kind of back at the writing phase.